Awards presentation on our new qualification, Food Safety in Catering. My name's Julie Goodwin and I'm a Business Development Consultant at Open Awards, and I'm joined today by my colleague Rebecca O'Hare.
Hi everybody.
And Rebecca, what do you do at Open Awards?
I'm a Development and Marketing Officer, so I'm involved in development of new qualifications such as these, and then I tell everyone about them.
Thank you. So if you're joining us today, you will know that at Open Awards we're always looking for new ways to accredit your learners. And here we go with our new food safety qualification. As always, qualifications start off with a purpose, and just to remind everybody, it is a level 2 qualification. It is based on national occupational standards for the industry and is in compliance with the Food Standards Agency. I'll just move on and we'll have a look at where does it fit within the whole thing. Well, if you are involved in the industry, you will know that this actual qualification is really key for the industry, and we can see it listed here at level 2, and it's an entry requirement for the occupation, but it could also be the starting or put together with our skills for further learning and employment qualifications, taking in the catering and hospitality units, and it could be a lovely addition to sit alongside the level 2 award, certificate or diploma. Therefore, your learners are going to be ready to go into the workplace and start work immediately. We do have a qualification guide which is available on our website. We do encourage you to go and download that. It has all the information that you'll need about the qualification. And as always, we start off with rules of combination. Well, this one's very easy because it's only got one unit, which is the food safety unit, as you can see. And we'll look at the outcomes for that in one moment. But it is good to stop at this particular point and say that this isn't an e-learning course. It's actually the test that's online at the end of it, not the whole of the programme. So you will be expected to deliver on the learning outcomes for the unit. And as you can see on screen, these are the 4 learning outcomes which will have assessment criteria. So your role in this will be to make sure that the learners have been prepared and they understand that they need to take responsibility for food safety, that they will understand how to be clean and hygienic in the workplace, that they can keep the working areas clean, and most importantly, they can keep the food safe and well so that it doesn't have any consequences for customers who may be visiting.
So just to clarify, Julie, this is like all of Open Awards qualifications where you deliver a unit against the learning outcomes and assessment criteria, and then the learners go on to do an exam which we provide for them.
That's right, just like you would be delivering with functional skills. Mm-hmm. So with functional skills you would do all the preparatory work, and then you would take an online test with Open Awards. It's just exactly the same. So do have a look through the qualification guide and have a look at the unit guide as well, so that you fully understand what's involved in that. Okay, when it does come to the end of the programme though, and you've delivered everything that you need to do, your learners will then take our online test. And that online test comprises of multiple choice assessment questions. There are 30 altogether, and that will be externally set and marked by Open Awards using our new exams system. And if you've been using functional skills, you will know how that works. But we'll have a look at that in a moment or two and see how that works.
Can I ask Julie, it's 30 questions, and how long do the learners get to complete the examination?
Good question. Your learners will have 1 hour to complete the assessment. So when your learners are ready to move forward, you want to really give them kind of a mock or a sample test. And we do have one of those that is also available on our website, and learners can go in there and really have a look at the functionality, as well as obviously thinking about the time that they're going to be working in, and maybe get used to that idea, there's pressure on you because there's time involved. As always with our open awards systems, we're using the exam software, and every screen at the beginning will give you some rubric or instructions and guidance for your learners. So you'll see here, it sets out very clearly how many questions and the time frame that learners will have to work. On the left hand side, you'll see there's further instructions, and the questions, the 30 questions are laid out in number format. That's on the opening screen. As learners progress through, then they'll get into the actual sample test itself, and there's some really handy features that you need to alert your learners to so they feel able to navigate the test fully. And the first thing is that there's always instructions, as you can see on the left hand side, so at any point they can check that. Obviously time is going on, so perhaps do those instructions at the very beginning before the test starts. Also as well, learners can navigate backwards and forwards, and if they could skip a question, for example. So if they're finding that they're spending a lot of time on one question and it's kind of really focusing their attention too much and they need to move on, then they can choose another question and come back to that question at the end. As you can see on the right hand side as well, the learners will see a presentation of the time that's elapsing, so they can see where they're up to regarding time left, etc. You could always remind your learners if they've got 10 minutes to go towards the end if they've not finished. When the learner has completed everything, they've checked all the questions that have been completed, and over on the left hand side where the questions are, they will turn yellow, and we'll see that presented in a moment, I should say. But then they can press the finish button. And on the sample test, they will see, there you can see the questions all highlighted in yellow, they've all been completed. They will get on the sample test a results screen which gives them the actual pass or whether they've not been lucky. As you can see on this particular instance, it's a fail or it's a non-pass for this. However, on the actual test, learners will not receive that information on the screen. That information will be sent immediately the test is finished to the tutor, and then the tutor will be able to disseminate that information to learners in a private and confidential manner. This just saves anything going on in class that will protect the integrity of the test, as well as obviously learners keeping everything confidential for them. So if you're ready to go ahead, how do you get started? Well, the first thing to do if you're interested is to complete and submit a new qualification notification form. I'm just going to pause there for a moment and think about the question, should you run this qualification? And quite often at Open Awards we get asked, what kind of qualifications do I need in order to be able to deliver this qualification? We always ask that at level 2, those who are delivering it, that's the tutors, have either experience or qualifications that are one level above the level they're delivering, so probably about a level 3. And that could, as I say, could include industrial experience, catering experience. It doesn't necessarily have to just be the qualification, but they must be working at that occupational standard that's one level above. Tutors as well, while they're delivering, just on that matter for a moment, tutors should be working towards, at the very least, the education and training level 3 award, or have already the old petals or something older that I've got, which is a certain. But they should be working towards that. And don't forget, at Open Awards, we also offer free training as your annual membership. So you could send tutors who are just about to start onto that programme, just to get an idea what we expect tutors to deliver, and count it as part of their CPD package with you. But do make sure that you are considering those tutors and make sure that they're progressing towards a formal qualification in teaching. This will also apply for your IV as well. So your internal verifier needs to be occupationally competent at level 2 as well. So if they're checking anything against it, I'm talking about IVs in this regard because they may be involved in checking things like the records or what you're delivering and teaching. But remember, at the end of this, we'll mark it anyway. Moving on, you must register your learners at least 5 days before the date of the assessment. So register as usual, this isn't scheduling, this is saying you intend to run the test with Open Awards. And you do this all through the portal, of course. When it actually comes down to testing, then you will need to schedule the test. And we do require 48 hours notice prior to the actual date of and time of the test. Now, it's important to note with this as well, there is only a very small grace period. So there's about a 30-minute grace period. So if learners are running a little bit late, they have 30 minutes. Otherwise, after that 30-minute window has gone, they'll have to redo the test, reschedule it and do it at a different time. Once that's been scheduled, we will take that information, put it through to our exam system, and the tutor will be issued with usernames and passwords for learners, so they'll be able to start that test. And testing must be under examination conditions. So if this is the first time that you're working with an end test and you haven't done functional skills or something similar, I think there's a pause on this as well, Becky. We need to consider that, don't we? That examination conditions, you may not have a policy and procedure in place to do that, but there's some things to consider about testing, such as having a quiet, prepared room, spacing in between candidates, and all that information is available on our website alongside the qualification guide for this level 2. But it is something that I think would, if you're interested in doing this and you've not done that kind of testing, please do contact us at Open Awards before you go ahead, because we need to make sure that you're supported through this new environment. And there's things like invigilation testing records that you'll need to keep as well. So we're here to help, but it is a change, a step change in the way that you will be delivering. So do make sure that tutors are prepared, that you're ready for those exams, and that you have invigilation methods and processes in place. At the end of that period of time, the instant results will be emailed to the tutor, and this can then be disseminated in whichever way you would like to do. And when you want to send your learners for a coffee and then call them back and do a tutorial. Interestingly enough, when exam results are given, it's very key to tell your learners specifically whether they passed or need to resit again, but no more detail than that, because what you need to then do is consider putting your learners, if they've not been successful, is to consider a little bit of time to perhaps reflect on the whole process rather than just one specific element. So be careful how you're delivering the results as well. You know, take that dignity and everything for your learners into account when you're doing that. We will automatically take the results from exams, put them back into our system, and print through the certificates for the successful learners and send them out in the usual way to you. So quality assurance, as I say, the qualification guide has got lots of information about quality assurance for this qualification. It's there for your information, so do please take some time to read that. Centre staff requirements, I think we've covered that in particular. You'll need obviously someone who's competent to deliver at this level. Do check the invigilation requirements, because sometimes the tutor can't actually invigilate the examination, so do check that before you go ahead, and make sure that you keep appropriate records of testing. It is an external assessment, so again we do have to make sure that everything is maintained, including confidentiality of all assessment materials. And as always, we may call on you in an unannounced visit to check that everything is set up correctly.
Can I ask, Julie, at this point while we're talking about quality, because this is a slightly different qualification, we're talking about compliance in this area, is there a license attached to this qualification? Like, does it run out, like your first aid book, for example, or do you have this for life once you've got the qualification?
It's a very good question, indeed. There's no actual mandatory requirements to take this after so many years, etc., like you do have with the first aid qualifications compliance. However, you may find it's good practice to take this again every 3 years, although there's the other argument on that side of it. Well, if you've been working in the food industry for 3 years, then you would by de facto be competent to do that.
It's a good base.
So it's a good base, really. And moving on as well, the prices, and I'll talk about resits just in one moment. The prices on screen now are for the test, and they include registration and certification. So it's £8 per test and £4 for resits, and this is within the 12-month period of registration. If the learner's unsuccessful, it might be good practice really to consider a period of reflection, which I alluded to before. Maybe a couple of weeks so the learner can go back over the content of what you've delivered, perhaps revisit that practice test again, and feel really confident, ready to take that test, so that what we're really doing is setting the learner up to succeed rather than just to keep taking the test as well. So I think that covers all our main points on this new qualification, and for Open Awards this is a great start for us because we will be looking more at compliance qualifications as we go forward as an awarding organisation. However, in the meantime, if you've heard this webinar and you think this sounds really great, I'd like some more information, please don't hesitate to call us at our main office on 0151 494 2072 or visit us at openawards.org.uk. That's all from me today. So it's goodbye from me, Julie.
Goodbye from me, Becky.
And thanks for watching.